Ahoy, welcome to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel deck profile. So this is for the June 2022 season. I reached Diamond 5. I didn't bother going for Diamond 1 this time because this is an alt account, and also there isn't much of a difference between 5 and 1, and on Master Duel meta, they don't care either way. So you can upload for 5 or 1. This season, I used Swordsoul because I wanted something easy. So I'm just going to quickly go down sort of like a rough, I'm trying to remember because I spent basically all month slowly working on this. Sort of the idea of how many wins and losses I had. I think I went almost undefeated up until Platinum. I think I only lost once in like Silver because I opened completely unplayable. Then my next loss was Platinum 5 where I think it was just a case of my opponent opened better and I opened basically unplayable, or like they just opened really well. I think I opened playable but they opened better. Then I got hard stuck in Diamond and Platinum 2 for a while because like I was playing a slightly different list, and then I scrapped that entire list and rebuilt it from scratch. Then Platinum 1 was easier, but I still kind of got stuck in it for a bit. So now to sort of go through everything, and I'll go through, explain every single card, why I'm not playing certain cards, why I'm playing certain ratios, all that sort of stuff. Starting with Deskbot 001, it's our main Halka target because it can be used alongside Auroradon to make Yazi and get into our Swordsoul plays. Because if two or more machine monsters special summon at the same time, while this card's in the graveyard, special summon it, Auroradon summons 3 at once. So literally, you have to play it if you're playing Hulk. If you're not playing Hulk, don't play it. It's as simple as that. 3 Adhara. Adhara plus any card is basically full combo because it's a tuner that can be used to make Halka. So, for example, if you open Adhara, Shthana, and then, I don't know, double called by Heavenly Dragon Circle, actually no, double called by, I don't know, Swordsoul Emergence, then you can go through the Halka line by just special summoning this, link into Tenyi, special summon this, and then you're off to the races basically. It also, if you control face-up non-effect monster, which you typically do at some point, banish this from hand or grave, target one banished worm monster, add it to hand. That does come up quite frequently because it says worm, not Tenyi. If it said Tenyi, it would come up slightly less. Triple Maxi, triple Ash, it's standard. I don't shut up phone. The only time I think these aren't right is in decks where you need certain attributes, like Deskbot for example, where I think I played 2 Ash, 3 Maxi. But again, that's a personal preference sort of thing. Double Shthana, it's the next best, it's the 4th best Tenyi, I'm fairly sure. Let me just double check that I'm not wrong on that. That requires an attack on a face-up non-effect monster, and then this one is a negate, which will never come up because it requires the opponent to target it. So yeah, so Shthana is the 4th best Tenyi. It's literally the only reason it's played. Its banish effect is if a face-up non-effect monster you control destroy a battle or card effect, banish this card, target the destroyed monster, special summon it. The only card in the entire deck that can be affected by that is Monk, but we have specific uses for Monk that will probably mean that this never comes up. I'll finish off the Tenyis first because we're on to the 2 insanely good ones, and then I'll go back for the Swordsoul stuff. So, triple Vishuda. If you control no effect monsters, special summon it. All of the Tenyis have that line. If you control a face-up non-effect monster, banish this card, target a card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. You can easily, with this, so I used it many times to bait out a Beyond the Floor negate. I pronounced that very wrong. Or I used it like just to try and bait out as much interaction from my opponent as possible, because they don't want their negates to get bounced. Like if they don't use it, so they'll negate this so they can keep a 3k body. And it's like it's easy to make because they're not going to negate an Adhara special summon. They're going to negate this. Well, they're not going to negate. Actually, yeah, because you can special summon this, right? Yeah, you can special summon this, link into Monk, activate the effect, then go into Adhara, and then you've got your Hulk of Firebrax line. Then we have Shthana, who I'm a bit indifferent to Shthana. Like, I know it's good, I just don't really like it too much. Like the banishing effect. So again, special summon itself. Control face of non-effect monster. Banish this card. Special summon Tenyi from your deck except Shthana. Can't special summon except 1 monsters for the rest of the turn. It's good if you end up with, say, like a Swordsoul token, because you can't link into anything, so you just use that, summon Shthana, make an 8. Because I don't think we play a 6, because I think they're all... Oh, I'm just going to double check that. They're both 4s, right? These other two? 4, yeah. So there isn't a 6 or anything. So basically you're just going to use that then to make like Chi Shao and Search Longyuan. So next we'll talk about the Sword Souls. So Mo Ye, 3 of it. I think my Sword Soul ratios are normal. I'm not actually sure. So normal special summon, reveal a Swordsoul or Worm, special summon a token. And then when it's sent to the grave for a synchro summon, you can draw a card. So the tokens lock you into synchro, so you can't say normal summon Mo Ye, reveal Adhara, link into Hulk of Firebrax. You have to make an 8, basically. And then the drawing a card, people always ash this. I don't know why they think that the draw 1 card is ash worthy, because there have been many games where I've gone like Mo Ye, synchro into Chi Shao, because Chi Shao always has to be chain link 1 because of the way that Master Duel works. So then this would be chain link 2. They always ash this while I have Emergence in hand, I might have Desires in hand, I might have Vessel for the Dragon Cycle in hand. But they ash this. So word of advice, don't ash this. They always have something worse in hand. Next, Taia. Banish a Swordsoul card or Worm monster from your graveyard, special summon a token. When this is into the graveyard as synchro material, send a Swordsoul or Worm monster. Send a Swordsoul card or Worm monster from deck to grave. That second effect rarely came up. I can't actually think of it ever coming up. Most of the time with Taia, if I opened Taia, it was like I was basically hoping that I also had a Tenyi in hand, so I could just link into Monk and then banish whatever I send. The only time I think it actually came up, the token, was the send. So I sent Blackout, and then then Blackout off that. Didn't use the Chi Shao first effect. Banished that, made Geomathmech Final Sigma, I think. I'm not sure. Next actual Swordsoul card is Longyuan. Discard a Swordsoul card or Worm monster, specials on this card from hand, and then when sent to the graveyard, synchro material, do 1200 damage. That 1200 damage matters, surprisingly. It came up for me all the time. So we only play 2 cards that Longyuan can go into, which are Baron, and then Cheng Ying, which we'll get to in a moment. With the other 2, you can make any of the 8s, which I'll fully explain in a moment, or Final Sigma. Our other final Swordsoul card is Incredible Ecclesia, the Virtuous. So if your opponent controls more monsters, this is Cyber Dragon and just special summons itself. And then you can, during the main phase, quick effect, tribute this card, special summon a Swordsoul monster or Fallen of All Bars from hand or deck. And then during the end phase, if a fusion monster is sent to the graveyard, you can add it to your hand. I don't play any fusions, but like the the tribute to Special Summon a Swordsoul is extremely important. People also don't understand when to Maxx you when you have this card. Because you'll Special Summon this, and then they'll Maxx, so you can just chain it immediately. And then like they have one less Maxx draw. It's also a tuner. So there was, I don't know if I saved that replay or not, but there is a very specific niche. Oh no, I think I did save it. Where if you are unable to activate a monster effect because of something like Inspector Border, you can Special Summon this, normal summon a Mo Ye or a Taia, and just immediately synchro into a Baxia, send away whatever they have, and then use Baxia's other effect to summon Mo Ye, and then start your actual combo. Only works with cards like Inspector Border, not with like Skill Drain, because Skill Drain is a bad card that shouldn't be legal. Final monster is Archnemeses Protos. Must be special summoned by banishing 3 monsters with different attributes from your graveyard and or face up field. A lot of our monsters don't have similar attributes. The exception is Shthana and Mo Ye conflict. Shthana and Ecclesia conflict. And then Ash, Longyuan, Adhara, Maxx, and 001. It's like for the most part, our main deck cards, the cards that we would be banishing because they're already in the grave, don't really conflict enough for that to be a problem. Can't be destroyed by card effects. You can declare 1 monster attribute on the field, so the attribute you're declaring has to be somewhere on the field, whether it's your side or the opponent's. Destroy all monsters on the field with that attribute, and then until the end of the next turn, neither player can special summon monsters with that attribute. So if I typically if I ended up with this in hand turn 1, say because I've made Qishao, Baron, and then just had a Swordsoul Emergence just in my hand, I'll typically search this, special summon it, and then just declare Dark, because it's a Dark, so it doesn't get destroyed by its own effect. And then the opponent can't special summon Dark, which came up somewhat frequently. Like, kind of shockingly frequently. But then, there are other games where it's like my opponent might have been playing, I think there was one person who was playing Swordsoul Tenyi, and they only made a monk because I think I Maxx'd them, and so they just went like Adhara into monk, attack for 1,000, pass. So then like I just summoned this, blew up their board, normal summoned Mo Ye, did my entire combo. Because I think I'd been ashed turn 1 or something, I can't remember. Spell traps, also for the spells, Harpie's Feather Duster. I played so many Eldritch players. So if you go back to the May 2022 video I did on Deskbot, I think I mentioned I barely played Eldritch. I played a lot of Swordsoul, which is why that deck is very much countered for Swordsoul. But this season I played so much Eldritch that it's like I had to play this. And after I started playing it, it came up once. I also didn't play many Tri-Brigade players, and if I did, they didn't end on Revolt. Because I think you can use Feather Duster to basically bait out Revolt before you do anything. Next, Pot of Desires. Banish 10, draw 2. Changing likes cards being banished. It's also draw 2. I have really bad luck with this. There were many games where I would banish 2 Mo Ye, or 2 Longyuan, or both Taia. Or when I was playing 2 Ecclesia, I would banish both of them and 2 Mo Ye. So then suddenly I'm down to 1 Mo Ye and an Ecclesia. So, but like in terms of the pots, the good ones, so we'll just go pot of. So you can't play Prosperity because it stops you from drawing, and Mo Ye draws a card. Can't play Extravagance because it stops you from drawing, which Mo Ye draws you cards. Duality stops you from special summoning. So you kind of have to play Desires because we also don't have access to cards like Allure or anything. Vessel for the Dragon Cycle. This card, people like to ash this one as well, and I don't know why. So you send a 1 monster from your deck to the grave. Then if you control a face-up non-effective monster, but only if you control a face-up non-effective monster, you can add a Tenyi from your deck to hand with a different name. So essentially what I would typically do is I'd send a Shthana and then add Adhara. or if I've, like, depending on what's in my hand. But I would typically just use this sort of to send something to grave, because I had Taia in hand, and they'd ash this. And I just still don't understand why, because you don't really gain anything by ashing this. Next, Swordsoul Emergence, the single best card in the deck, in my opinion. It's like, if this is the best card, then like the actual Swordsoul monster is the second best, because that's how good this card is in my opinion. Add one Swordsoul monster from your deck to your hand, or if you control a synchro monster, add a worm. And then if it's banished, you can target a Swordsoul monster or worm you control, increase or decrease its level by 1. I never had that come up, ever. Actually no, that's a lie, I did have it come up. I had it come up exactly once, after I removed Herald of the Arclight from the deck, because I was playing this. Then I ended up with a board where it was, I think I had Adhara, and then I was able to summon a Shthana because of, I could have normal summoned a Shthana, as I had a way to banish the Emergence, but then I wouldn't have had anything to do with it. And I don't play Denglong because I refuse to read Denglong. But so, the add a Swordsoul monster. You can do this at the start of your turn, at Mo Ye. So technically speaking, when it comes to Mo Ye, we are technically playing 9 copies of it. Because we've got the 3 Mo Ye, the 3 Ecclesia, which are typically going to summon Mo Ye, and then the 3 Emergence, which are typically, if you're doing it at the start of your turn, you're doing it to search Mo Ye. Or for like a long one because you don't have a second worm, or a worm to show off of Mo Ye. But even then you should probably just show the Emergence. The add a worm monster though, searches Protos. So essentially you can do your full combo, have this in your hand, summon Protos, game over. If they're playing Darks, or if you're going second. Double called by kind of mandatory. It came up surprisingly less than I thought it would. I was playing Crossout Designator as well, but I kept bricking on the designated targets, so Nibiru and Valor. And I'd basically have like a 5-card hand be double Designator, Nibiru, Ash, Valor. So it's like I can't do anything with that hand. So I cut all of the Crossout Designator stuff. It's a personal preference. If you don't have that issue, then be my guest to play that. Heavenly Dragon Circle. Tribute a 1 monster, add a 1 monster from your deck to your hand, or if you tribute a non-effect monster, special summon instead, but negates effects. And then, if you control a face-up non-effect monster, banish this card from your graveyard, add a Tenyi from your deck to your hand. And you can only use 1 of those effects per turn. That second one came up exactly once, but like it didn't matter at the end of the day. This first effect though, I at first misread it, because I thought it was you tribute the monster, and like that's it essentially, like you just add a worm to your hand. Here's the thing you can do. Normal summon Mo Ye, opponent activates Valor. Chain Heavenly Dragon Circle. Tribute the Mo Ye. You get the token, search Shthana. That makes an 8. You then get Chi Shell. That's why you play Heavenly Dragon Circle. Like, I don't think I ever used the second effect. I can't remember if I did, but I don't think I did. Double Imperm. You kind of have to play Imperm. Because outside of these two, we don't really have anything for going second. It's like, we can break a board, but we don't have a way to slow down our opponent. Imperm is, in my opinion, the best slowdown card. Swordsoul Blackout, it's really good. So target a 1 monster you control and 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them. You can target Protos and 2 cards your opponent controls, you keep the Protos, your opponent loses everything. If this card is banished, special summon a Swordsoul token. In case you haven't figured it out yet, Swordsoul tokens are important. A Blackout. So essentially, Mo Ye, make Chi Shell. Eventually you set a Blackout, like if you already got a log one, just set this. Use Chi Shell on your opponent's turn, make a token. you can then make Final Sigma on your turn. But we'll get into that in a second, because now we're going to go through all of the extra deck. So, starting things off, Yazi, Evil Yang Zing. The only important effect. When this card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, special summon a worm monster from your deck in defense position. You can consistently do this through the Aurora Online. The only other way to make Yazi in this deck would be through the Swordsoul Emergence level modulation. But that is bad. There is no reason to do that. So, yeah, because these other effects don't really matter. Like, this could come up. But, okay, that one can come up, but only if you're going second, but also you have to do the level modulation. It's not that great. 2 backs here. When this card is synchro summoned, target cards on the field up to the number of original attributes, different original attributes of the worm monsters used to the synchro summon, shuffle them into the deck. First of all of the tokens are water. So if you Taia, special summon a token, you just get to shuffle 2 cards your opponent controls back into the deck. It is Nightmare Unicorn, but better. And then once per turn, you can target 1 card you control and 1 level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard. Destroy that card in the field, and if you do special summon that other monster from the graveyard, you can use both effects in that turn. So, like I said earlier with the Inspector border, special summon this, normal summon this, make this, shuffle everything back, and then use the destroying this, so you then destroy Baxia, and then special summon Mo Ye, start your combo from there. Omega, I never used it, I just had it because I needed something else. And it's an 8. Like, it's an 8 that, in theory, can like banish a card from your opponent's hand. You can return stuff from banished to the grave, so you can technically recycle your Blackout. And then if it's in the grave, you can target 1 other card in the graveyard, shuffle both that and this into the deck. So you can use this to return Chi Shao or Baron or whatever. Draco Berserker, at the start, this was the 3rd best card in the extra deck. Towards like getting to like Platinum, it became the 4th best, and then the 5th best. So when your opponent activates a monster's effect, quick effect, banish it. That, I believe, can banish Nibiru. So if your opponent goes to Nibiru, you just banish it. Doesn't matter. If this card destroys an effect monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, this card gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. Also, it can make a second attack on a monster during this battle phase. You can clear your entire opponent's board with just Draco Berserker. Double Chi Shao. If this card is synchro summoned, add to your hand or banish 1 Swordsoul card from your deck. Typically you're searching Longyuan. If you've already got that, then you're either searching Emergence or Blackout, whichever one you think is more important. So, in my opinion, Emergence is more important if you want to go for Protos, Blackout if you have, say, Monk on the field. And then, quick effect, you can banish 1 Swordsoul card or worm monster from your hand or graveyard. Target 1 effect monster on the field, negates effects. And you can use 1 of those effects per turn. So you can't say add long one, negate a monster's effect immediately after. You can only do 1 of them. Baron de Fleur. I don't know how to feel about this card. It's a removal magnet, basically. So once per turn, target a card on the field, destroy it. That's good. It's just free removal. Then once while face up on the field, when a card or effect is activated, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. And then once per turn during standby phase, you can target 1 level 9 or lower monster in your graveyard, return this card to the extra deck, and if you do special summon that monster, you can do that for Mo Ye. I never used it. Like, it just never came up for me, because typically, if it got to my turn and I still had a Baron on the field, then it's a 3k attacker, and I've probably already got follow-up anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. Cheng-Ying, that is how you say it, right? Yep, Cheng-Ying. For each banished card, this card gains 100 attack / defense, and monsters your opponent controls lose 100 attack and defense. It is a slightly worse version of Stray Phoenix Enforcer in that regard. However, you automatically make a bigger by just activating a Desires, or by playing half your cards. If this card will be destroyed by card effect, you can banish a card from your graveyard instead, which can trigger Blackout, it can trigger Emergence. If a card is banished, banish one card each from both your opponent's field and graveyard. So, this card legitimately gains attack for banished cards, so similar to Grand Marju, can banish cards to protect itself, and then you can just remove cards from your opponent's field and grave. And you can trigger that last effect with Chi Xiao, like whenever you want. It's insane. This is a card that has so many, like, it has three effects that all connect, but are very different and shouldn't be on a single card. Final Synchro monster is Geomathmech Final Sigma. The main part is unaffected by card effects except Mathmech cards while in the extra monster zone. If this card in the extra monster empowers an opponent's monster, any battle damage it deals to your opponent is doubled. That is all it is. It is a card that can, in theory, do a lot of damage. So the only 12 Synchro that I know is decent, because 12 Synchros can come up, and it came up exactly 3 times for me. So you can change this with whatever. You can play Herald. You could play Borreload Savage. I never had enough materials to justify going Chi Xiao, Barone, and then Borreload Savage, and if I did, I'd still rather the Draco Berserker just because it's a banish. Because I don't. I need to double check now. Borreload Savage doesn't destroy, right? Just negates. Yeah, just negates. So you can play that? I don't know. Because it essentially is just niche card versus niche card. That's basically it. So I was playing Chaofeng, I never made it, because to make it you're basically using Adhara and then an 8, when I'd rather not. So, Link monsters, there's only 5 of them. 2 Master Tenyi, it's just so that you can, like, it's literally for either Taia, or so that you can make Calcifibrax with Adhara. Calcifibrax. If it's Link summoned, special summon 1 level 3 or lower tuner from your hand or deck in defense position, but cannot activate its effects this turn. It's a good thing Deskbot 001 doesn't have an activated effect, except in the grave, but that doesn't matter. And then the other effect doesn't come up because we do not play a single tuner synchro as far as I am aware. No, none of them are tuner synchros. Is Herald a tuner synchro? No, so it wouldn't come up unless you're playing Coral Dragon. I don't even know if it would Coral Dragon even be good? Because I don't think you can summon it. Because it's hard ones per turn, right? Yeah. So Coral Dragon wouldn't be good. Yeah, so using this to summon 001 so you can go into Auroradon, which I'll get to in a moment. Shthana the Tenyi, I never use this. I think I made it once. And it was just so that I could have a Tenyi in the grave, basically. Because I had, I think, Monk and then a Shthana. So I just needed something in the grave for Taia. Because I think my opponent had DD Crowed my Shthana or Vishuda or whatever. Or they called Bite or something like that. Either way, it's like I already only made it so I could use Taia. What does it do? Special summons a worm, but you can't activate. Yeah, okay, so you can't activate effects except Tenyi monsters. I probably would cut this for, I don't know, Herald with the Arclight. I'm just going to do that now. So there. Future reference, Herald of the Arclight, ignore Shaman. I don't think it's very good. Maybe I'm missing something with it. Yeah, I'm either missing something with it, or it's not very good. So I'll just quickly read Herald. Any monster sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead. It's Macrocosmos. And then you contribute this card to negate a spell trap or monster effect, which could come up. It also destroys it. And then add ritual stuff, but we don't play rituals. Auroradon. the card that you use alongside Yazi. So, if it's link summoned, special summon 3 Mecha Phantom based tokens, which special summons Deskbot 001. He also can't link summon for the rest of the turn, but this is our little final link monster because we're a synchro deck. Then, once per turn, tribute up to 3. You will never tribute more than 1. Destroy 1 card in the field, so you will tribute Auroradon. So, allow me to explain the combo quickly. So you get to Auroradon using Hulk and 001. Because Hulk can special summon from hand or deck, so as long as it's in one of those 2 places, you're fine. So, Auroradon special summons 3 tokens. 001 comes out. You then make Yazi, who is a 7, so you'll have 1 token left over, which you can use for Vessel or just Vessel or your Tenyi effects. From there, activate Auroradon to destroy a card on the field, tribute Auroradon, pop Yazi, special summon Mo Ye. There you go. You are then free to do your standard Swordsoul plays, which typically would be Mo Ye plus token into Chi Xiao search Longyuan plus a draw, Longyuan summon Barone, going first, going second, Salt Supreme, Sovereign, Cheng Ying. That is the basics of this. I actually really enjoyed this deck, but I think there are definitely different ways you can take it. So I played the Hulk Fire Axe Engine. I didn't play DPE. I've seen people play Hulk, I've seen people play DPE, I've seen people play neither. I don't know if there is a correct way to play this. Oops. I think this, well, not the correct way, is definitely a good way to play it. So I'm just going to show a few replays. They're all fairly short. Just going to have a drink while it loads. Okay. So, opening hand, Vessel, Desires, Adhara, 001, called by. This is never good when you have these two, because it's Adhara. It's basically any Tenyi plus any tuner except 001. So, activate Desires. Banish 10, so we banished a Mo Ye, we banished Protos, so we can't go for Protos, we banished Blackout, so we can't use Blackout. But then everything else is fairly fine, like we banished our Duster, so could be bad. Okay, and now we're set to go with the Hulk Auroradon line. So special Adhara, summon Monk, activate Vessel just to send Vishuda, and then add a Shthana, normal Adhara, into Hulk. Hulk special summon 001 into Auroradon. I'll just fast forward this bit. 001 comes out, make Yazi. So, and then Auroradon, tribute itself, destroy Yazi, Yazi effect, special Mo Ye. So this is why we vesseled when we did, just so that we can add a worm, because Mo Ye needs a worm. So, Shthana, make Chi Xiao, use Chi Xiao and Mo Ye, draw on Shthana, summon Longyuan into Barone. I didn't remember if I did Barone or Cheng Ying here, and then set the call by. Fight for Patchwork. Searching Poly and Edge Imp. So, a few things you need to know. So, Fight for Patchwork. It's a Fluffle card. It's also played by Deskbot. So it's like, okay, I don't know if I negate that because I'm not sure if it'll make much of a difference. They then go drum the Iris Swordsoul, Dramaturge of Despia, Edge and Chain for Proskenian. Why? So then they'll Despia 1 or Dramaturge 1, Venus Chain 2, banish the Dramaturge to negate it. using Cold Buy. So now I'm just going to quickly read Briskenian. So it can take a Fusion Synchro Xyz or Link monster in the opponent's graveyard, so banish it or special summon it. So be able to take Baron or Chi-Chao if they destroy it. Then when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack or defense, whichever is higher. That's going to come up in the battle phase. So I think now they just go straight to battle. I think, yep, they go battle phase. Declare the attack on Baron. I negate Briskenian to take less damage, so I only take 200 instead of 32. Main phase 2, pass turn. And I draw Ecclesia. So, activate Vessel. They chain Briskenian, I don't know why. They know I have a negate. So I negate it using Chi-Chao. To send Vishuda, add Adhara, normal, bring out Mo Ye. So I can't, reminder, I can't use the search effect. Because I used the negate, I now can't search. So Baxia, I could have, instead of going for Baxia, I could have used Vishuda. It was probably a misplay on my part. Because what could I have made instead? I could have gone Draco Berserker, which wouldn't have really done much, so it didn't make a difference. So I could have gone Draco Berserker, which basically would have been the next best option, or Omega. I could have gone Omega. Yeah, it doesn't really make much of a difference, really. So, drawing basically nothing. Use that to bring back the Ecclesia and make Final Sigma. Now this isn't lethal, but there's basically no way that Deskbot can out Geomath make Final Sigma without a Kaiju, which I can't remember if this person was playing any Kaijus. So then I believe they just concede here. Oh no, they Fusion Destiny. Oh, that's it, yeah, they Fusion Destiny. So, wakens Chi-Chao. Chi-Chao effect and negate. So they destroy their DPE. DPE activates. Main phase 2. Concede. I don't know if they just forgot. Oh, let me just double check. Were they playing Kaijus? They were not playing any Kaijus. So I think the only way for them to out Final Sigma would be through the first Dark Lord or Numeron Dragon. Basically, that's it. So we'll go on to the next game. I don't remember what any of these are. I recorded them earlier today and I don't remember what any of them are. Now let's see if I can guess what this game is. Okay, so they're going first. It's 35. I actually have no idea what this is. And I have only a Maxx as a hand trap. Oh, so this is Invoked Punk, which is a really interesting deck in my opinion. So I'm just going to fast forward through their turn, because I have 0 interaction. They yashed my Maxx, so Norse and Alistair, search Invocation, go into a Mechaba. What was that? I think that was their 4th summon, so they were protected from Nibiru. But they've got that anyway, so they can negate any Nibiru going forward. Into Aurodon. Special summoning Olion. Main Hyper Librarian to draw a bunch of cards. Cupid Pitch to do stuff. Warlord Savage. So far they're at 2 negates. I don't remember if they get more. Oh no, they don't get a third negate. They get Thunder Dragon Colossus. So Nemesis Corridor summons itself. Tribute for Colossus. I think that's the end. Yep, so that's the end of their turn. So this is what I have to go through. I have 1 negate, 2 negate with a banish. Can't add cards from deck to hand, except by drawing them. And then they can draw cards anytime I synchro summon. I'm a synchro deck. I want to synchro summon. So let's see how I go through this. Okay, so double Ecclesia isn't great. So, Desires, hoping to bait an Ash, or hoping to bait any sort of negate. Banishing Longyuan, the third Ecclesia, second Mo Ye, double Vishuda. So nothing valuable was lost. Drawing a second Desires. I was playing 3, I cut it down to 2 because I kept drawing the others, still drew the second. So bring out the Ecclesia, use Ecclesia, they Mechaba. Normal Mo Ye. Reveal Blackout. They use Borrowed Savage. So now, they've used up both of their negates. They don't have any more negates. So I'll bring out Longyuan, sending Blackout, which does matter. The fact that I sent Blackout matters a lot, because I'm going to make Chi Shao. I can't search with Chi Shao. Apparently I can activate the effect to search, because you can banish, but I can't add it to my hand, which is where I would want cards to be because of Thunder Dragon Colossus. So I activate Hyper Librarian, I chain Mo Ye, chain Chi Shao to negate Librarian so that they can't draw a card, banishing the Blackout, which gets me a token. So I draw Duster, which now I'm sat here. I'm sat there thinking, okay, this Duster. So I can't remember how the tokens work with this, whether like it loses both of its borrow counters or what if I destroy this, but it does lower its attack, which is currently my priority, is getting that thing weakened. So Duster, it also gets rid of that, so it doesn't get rid of the tokens, but I make Chinging. They Hyper Librarian, which does nothing. Longyuan. Burns for 12, gets him down to 62. So now, destroy Mechaba. They did spend some time thinking there because they have an Alistair in hand, I'm fairly sure. Immediately destroy Borrowed Savage, get rid of all of their negates. So main phase 2, set the Desires as a bluff. It's nothing more than a bluff. So then they synchro into Crystal Wing. And welcome to the part where they made the biggest mistake. I activate Chi Shao to bait out the Crystal Wing. Then negate the activation. So Chi Shao gets destroyed. Card was banished. Changing activates. Banishes both Crystal Wing and Alistair. Now, I'm 400 off lethal. Normal summon Ecclesia, effective Ecclesia. They activate Jewelry Punk, whatever. It negates the effect. So, loses some attack, summon Mo Ye, effective Mo Ye. Reveal a Shthana, special token, go into Baxia, shuffle back Colossus. And then Mo Ye to draw a card. So then it's just attack for game, but I conceded before that. So I believe that's both of those games now won thanks to Baxia. So this was that list. I don't know if this can be called standard or what, because I genuinely don't know anything about Invoked Punk. It looks cool. Oops. And then the final replay because I saved 3. I don't remember what this one is either. I think this was my one that got me into Diamond 5. So I think this is the rank up match. I could be wrong. So again, going second. They're playing 41. I've got a fairly standard hand, so I can, depending on what they end on, I can summon this and go from there. Oh, that's right, it's Thunder Dragon. So again, here I'm thinking, so they send Matrix, or they banish Matrix, which adds a Matrix, and then the other half of the effect banishes Thunder Dragon Rule, which special summons a Thunder Dragon. I'm thinking, okay, they're probably going to go for, like, they're probably going to go for Colossus, because Colossus is generically really powerful. But I have this Maxx, so I'm thinking, okay, I can definitely win with a Maxx. Or at least I can get into a position where I can win. So they have Raw, a Maxx. There was a pause there, if I remember correctly, so they have something in hand that's a quick effect. They summon that, gets us Shthana, or Adhara, sorry. Pass turn. I think, okay, I don't know if I can win now, because I was hoping they would banish more stuff. So, got Ecclesia. They activate Dark, just to cycle another Dark. I'm guessing they have I'm assuming they have something in hand, because I think there is like the quick effect. I'm trying to think of how to word it. Sort of pause between each action. So Vessel, send Vishuda, add a Shthana. I believe I use Vishuda here. Nope, I don't use Vishuda here. So Swordsoul, Mo Ye. Mo Ye drawing, Ash. Which again, I'm thinking, okay, cool, I've got follow-up. Longyuan, sending Adhara. Now I use this Vishuda to bounce that to hand. Then I use Graveyard Adhara to add banished Vishuda back to hand. Then I, for some reason, a Shthana, just for the hell of it. Summoning Shthana. I don't remember why I summoned Shthana. Especially considering I had lethal anyway, because I didn't normal summon at any point. I specialed to the Ecclesia. So, here is my one big piece of advice. If you are going second, and your opponent played a little bit, but not too much, then you want to make Cheng-Ying. If you can kill your opponent, use Cheng-Ying. If you can't, use Burn. And then if you need a bit of help getting the kill, go for Baxia. Obviously, everything depends on your opening hand. Like, if you open, say, triple Mo Ye, like Mo Ye, and then all three, I don't know, Vessel, and something else that just doesn't do anything, this. Like, obviously, you're not going to be able to make a board of Swordsoul Baron every single game. The reason that I prefer the Hulk build, Hulk Fibrax or Rodon build, is that it makes it so that a hand of, say, Ash and Shthana makes Swordsoul Baron, or Cheng-Ying Swordsoul, depending on what I want, and if I'm feeling like playing poorly. Yeah, so this has been a look at my Swordsoul Tenyi build. I might try and make these like a fortnightly thing. Depends how much I play the game. I've got no idea what I'm going to do next. Hopefully it's something good. So thanks for stopping by. I hope this has helped you somewhat. Oh wait, before I go, need to mention be careful of Token Collector. It only was special summoned on me once this entire time. This is a card that more people should be playing, but they're not. So be prepared for when they start to learn to play that. Same thing goes for, what is it called? Dimensional Barrier. It just stops fusions, synchros, disease, and pendulums. Ritual's less important, but it can just stop synchros and negate their effects. I had it activated on me twice. Once after I had Baron Swordsoul set up and was on like, it was like turn 3 or something like that. So like that didn't matter at that point. But yeah, so be warned, that stuff does currently exist in the format and will become more prevalent as time goes on. So a couple other things I would say, like, I don't know if I'll be playing this ever again. I had fun with it at first, and then like I stopped having fun playing it. So I'm probably not going to come back to this deck unless I haven't read what the other, like the Longyuan Synchro does. Because there's a Longyuan Synchro, and I've got no idea what it does because I haven't read it. So I should probably read that eventually. And then maybe I'll come back to this when that's out. Like give sort of an update on whether I think it makes it better or worse or what. But anyway, thank you for watching. Don't know when the next one of these will be. Probably 2 weeks from now, maybe a month from now. Don't know. So thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.